What's up, guys? Want to report live from the Dominican Republic. We're in Puerto Plata today at the Villa. I want to debunk a few things and go over a betting recap here. One thing that a lot of people asking me about is this sports betting arbitrage. And sports betting arbitrage, at least in the United States, I don't think is anything that you need to be concerned of. There's no way where you can bet both sides and make money. It just doesn't make sense. So I've seen a few of these videos. One of these has 7.6 million views, where they're betting all angles of the game. Most of the time it's not going to work out unless the underdog hits. So I don't know why this is becoming clickbait or popular, but I just wanted to debunk it real quick, just because arbitrage betting isn't something that it's not realistic. So you cannot make money off of sports betting arbitrage or betting both sides of the game and the draw line and be profitable over time. It just doesn't exist. So I've watched a few of these videos where these teams are taking, or these guys are taking like both sides and maybe the draw line. There's just no sports book that will even allow you to make money that way. It doesn't make sense mathematically. So what they're doing is they're taking soccer bets and they're doing like Switzerland, France, and then the draw line. Those are the three different options, and hoping and praying that either the underdog wins or the draw line wins. So I don't even believe that this guy has done anything as far as profit wise. You can try it and you're just going to be moving money around from left pocket to right pocket, and that will probably be the title of my video, is just a way to get views because there's no one that's got banned from sports betting, arbitrage betting, and there's no mathematical formula for you to bet both sides. The only way where you can make money in doing something like this is if you were to bet like an underdog outright, like the Commanders versus Lions was like plus 400, and then during the game you bet on the Lions when they were down like 10 or 17 points, and the Lions came back and you got plus like 1,000 and plus 400 on both sides. Other than that, it's just not a strategy that anyone who's a pro uses, and it's just something that I wouldn't even try to think of this. It's the first time I've even heard of arbitrage betting, but I think a lot of people mix it up with arbitrage trading, and it's just not something that I would even recommend to anybody, just because it's a waste of your money and you're not going to hit both sides of every game or win in matter of that fact. So sports arbitrage, stick to trading or whatever you do for your day job, because this is just not going to be a profitable thing for you. As far as betting recap, I do want to go over a betting recap and just kind of show you some of the views here in the jungle here, Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic. 19-4 this week, big betting week. 6-1 yesterday. Let's go over a few of these winners here. We hit the over on Kaiserslautern and Grunther Fur. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but that's the Bundesliga, second league. That popped in like 50 minutes. We had the team total of St. Francis over 60, which won, and that was an easy one. Next bet that we hit was Portland Trailblazers. They won outright, no problem. And we also hit Marquette minus 9.5. Michigan was one of our only losers. And then we also did Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Moneyline, easy win. And also one of my boys, Chino, sent me Grizzlies Moneyline and Jets Moneyline parlay. And that was for almost even money. So appreciate you, Chino. And then my other boy, Alex, sent me Washington +6. It covered by 1 point. So 6-1 on the day yesterday. Excellent day. Just want to keep up the momentum. It's easy to pick winners when you're just betting and that's the only thing you're doing for the day. It's a lot easier to do so. But yeah, just trying to enjoy beautiful weather, tropical weather. Going to the playa today. and enjoying the pool. As far as some other things, let's go to, I want to give you guys a few free plays today. I know that's kind of why people watch my videos, but I'll give you a few predictions here. I do believe the Pacers are playing the Spurs on a rematch. The Spurs just blew them out by 30. I think the Pacers do win that game, so that's one free play. Moneyline Pacers. It starts early, so get on top of that. And they want to showcase some of the other French players. Wemby obviously balled out the first game, so that was easy. Orlando Magic, they have been losing a lot lately. They're on a 5-game losing streak. I think they are primed to win. They have really good luck against the Pistons historically. I think they've won the last, they're like 2-8 in the last 10. But as far as against Detroit, they're still favored, which shows you a lot. And I think Orlando's won 5 straight home games. I have to do the research. 5 or 6 straight home games against the Pistons. So that's one game I like. Let's see what else we got. One of my other boys who is on a few soccer plays. This is more of a parlayable leg, but a lot of people have given me Newcastle money line. Now it's negative 210, so you need to stack it with something. I kind of like the Warriors tonight against the Lakers. The Lakers just beat the Celtics. Warriors just got smacked by the Kings, and they've been getting smacked lately. So I like to fade the team that's been doing well. And also the Lakers stole the game on Christmas Day, so it's kind of a revenge game for them. Same thing with Texas A&M versus Texas in college. Texas has been, they are favored, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Texas A&M has been doing really well, but again, Texas A&M beat them the first matchup, so I would say they're more likely to win. Texas would be kind of a revenge win for them. So that is one thing I would suggest to look at and maybe bet that game live, because that should be a tight game. Let's see what else we got. But yeah, I mean, a lot of these things are looking at spots. I would call this spot betting. There's sometimes where it just favors a team in a good spot, whether the other team has been traveling, they're on a back-to-back. Back-to-backs are huge. Traveling is huge. Time zones are huge. So just making sure that you're paying attention to travel schedules, because it can drastically impact the outcome of a game. If a team's traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast off of back-to-back, we like to fade teams, especially out of Denver. If they're facing the Denver Nuggets, right, and then they've got another game like way out in the West Coast, Denver is a bitch to fly out of. There's nothing within 400 to 600 miles of that airport, and traveling is just a burden on the human body. So I love paying attention to teams that are flying in and out of Denver, and then let's just say they have a back-to-back, so they played Denver, they got to fly out of there and go somewhere else. That team is not resting well or getting a good night's sleep. It's a really good idea to just kind of fade whoever just got out of Denver. I don't know what the math is on that, but I need to start tracking it, because that's a trend that I like. Another trend that's been popular this year that I haven't been doing, but it's been going viral, is a lot of bettors are actually tracking the WNBA and the menstrual cycles, and then they're fading that team or fading the player props. It's pretty genius. I just haven't gotten into it, and I don't have a lot of books that I think have WNBA player props. So for me, not really an option, but yeah, spot betting. So travel schedules. Also look at historical matchups. There's a lot of, like, for instance, like I like the Magic to beat the Pistons today. Historically, they just kind of have their number. I don't know if it's a system thing, but whenever a team has beaten a team repetitively, there's all these matchups in all types of sports, no matter what the record is. There's just teams that historically own other teams. So you need to take advantage and exploit that when you can. So that's why I like the Magic. Magic are also historically good at home. I like the Magic at home. And then we talked about back-to-back. I'd like to give you guys a little bit of sauce of what we've been doing this week, because this week's been really, really hot. We've been mixing in team totals. What we're doing is finding the better team who takes a lot of data and research, but we're taking a better team who put up a certain X number of points away. Now they're on the second leg of playing a certain team, and the team total is around the same number as what they already put up on the road. You know, typically teams play better at home. They score more points at home, so it's definitely worthwhile hitting. So we've been doing that on the college level. As far as pro, NBA has still been tough. We've been hitting it, but I've been doing a lot more conservative stuff, like cross-referencing, thanks to my boy Chino. You know, we did Grizzlies money line. They were down 9 or 10 points at halftime. They ended up winning and covering the full game spread, but we parlayed that with our favorite NHL team, which is the Winnipeg Jets money line. They won like 5-2. So that was an easy two-way parlay for almost free money. But yeah, just finding those spots. So with NBA, it's so difficult that you're almost better off taking money line winners and not playing the spread at all, and trying to stack that with another sport with a dominant matchup such as the Winnipeg Jets. So that's one other NBA tip, just because NBA is very tough. I just watched a segment on why the NBA is failing as far as ratings, but it's also hard to bet on because, you know, you got these guys that are getting $150-200 million. They have no incentive to even compete, and their championship is just their contract. So they don't have any motivation at all to go out there and give it all they got. So it makes it really hard to bet on when these guys are, you know, going to Miami and they're out all night and then they just tank that game. That's another team that does well at home, Miami. A lot of times the visiting team almost looks at it as like a vacation where they're going to be partying all night. You got to watch what nights those games fall on, because these teams, you know, they almost use their travel schedule as like a tour. So just making sure that you pay close attention, make sure, like if it's a young team, they might want to go out and go clubbing all night, you know, like the Thunder or something in Miami. They might not do so hot, especially if there's some sort of event going on where they want to be outside. So I have taken advantage of that before. There was one time I was out on the town in Columbus, Ohio, and I saw the Ohio State men's basketball team out on campus, and they were all drinking heavily, partying heavily, and I noticed that they had a game the next day, and I'm like, no way, they're not going to cover or perform. They were favored, and I don't remember the matchup. This is many years ago, but I just remember seeing a lot of their players just drunk as a skunk the night before. Guess what? They didn't cover. They didn't win. They got blown out by like 30-40 points. So definitely something that you want to be aware of is people's party schedules, because that can drastically affect a game and the outcome of a game. So that's one thing to pay attention to. Different spots, travel schedules, stuff like that. So, but yeah, so spot betting. Injuries, I think, have been a really confusing thing for NBA betting this year. Whenever you see a team that has their star player injured, like I'll use Ja Morant for example. There was one game I had lost, and it was a max bet for me where it was a get-back game or the revenge game. It was Spurs versus Grizzlies. And as soon as they announced that Ja Morant is injured, I'm like, okay, this should be a no-brainer, right? Well, wrong. That injury theory holds true where a lot of times if there's a star player that's injured, that team not only wins, but somehow plays better and covers the spread. So something you want to keep in mind when you're betting is they use these injury reports to throw you off of the right side, especially in NBA. And it's really hard to narrow down the injury reports because everyone's a game time decision. A lot of times, or oftentimes, they'll put the starting lineup like 10 minutes before the game starts, and I don't think that these star players have any impact at all. There was another game where we took the Nets to cover against the Knicks. Now the Knicks were on a back-to-back. They just had a tough game against, I think, Atlanta Hawks. They play the Nets the next day, and that was a good spot to pick up the Nets because the Knicks were on a back-to-back. That's an interstate rivalry game, and I saw that there was a lot of developmental players for the NBA, like G Leaguers, playing in that game. It didn't matter. It was super competitive. The Nets had a chance to win. Cam Johnson missed the last second three-point shot to win, but they covered the spread. It was a double-digit spread easily. They only lost like 99-94. So that was a good pickup spot for the Nets where you can kind of track that and see, like, okay, the Knicks are on a back-to-back. This is a rivalry game. Nets have been tanking historically, but they play the Knicks pretty well. So 12 points is an awful lot of points, and we got that spread easily, no stress. So the whole goal is just to find value wherever you can. You can test my NBA injury theory out. This one I've talked about on previous videos. But star player, especially if they're announced injured or out for the game within like an hour or two before tip-off, that is a key timing issue where they're trying to kind of psychologically fuck with you and get you off of whatever your bet was. So that is one thing that I would suggest, is pay close attention to these lineups and NBA injuries, especially in NBA. But they even did that in some college bowl games. They would have like a star wide receiver that would be injured, and that team would still blow out the other team. So my injury theory is one thing that you can pick up on, make a lot of money on, track it. Back-to-back in NBA is a good one, especially if it was like a 4-quarter game or overtime game. If you can find a team that was like back-to-back, went to overtime, and had to travel, there's little to no chance that they cover or even win, no matter who they're playing, unless they're a young team like the Thunder, the following day. So that's one thing I would recommend. Take a look at is back-to-backs, especially if they played an overtime game or a really competitive game. And that's something that you should look at in a lot of sports. Baseball doesn't apply as much just because they don't do a lot of exercise, but like strenuous sport like basketball, football, they don't do back-to-backs in football, but short rest, stuff like that. Injury theory, then spot theory. So always look at the historical matchups between franchises, because there's just certain systems, and it even works in college sports too, college football, college basketball. There's certain teams that have certain teams' numbers. Even in college football, congrats to the Ohio State Buckeyes. They won the championship, but historically, Ryan Day has done really bad against Michigan. Michigan, who was terrible this year, 3-touchdown underdog this year, won outright, and they've beat them, 4 out of the last 5 years, something like that. Ryan Day struggles to beat Michigan for whatever reason. So taking the spread there is always safe. Sprinkle the money line is even not a bad idea. One more thing on NBA, just because we've been betting it and on the topic, but with NBA, and if you're trying to do parlays, there's always one favorite that fails to cover and fails to win on your parlays. So the other night I was joking about all favorites moneyline parlay. There's always an underdog moneyline winner that will bust the parlays. So something to take note of is if there's 4 games that are all too good to be true, you want to make sure that you're betting one of those underdogs to cover or win money line. It's pretty safe to say that not all NBA favorites are going to win. So something that I keep close attention to. And there's never like free money on that. You can't stack. Yeah, one thing to avoid, especially for my parlay people, is you cannot stack all favorites in one sport for the day. It just doesn't. there's like one case a year where all Moneyline favorites win and cover. So make sure that you're not doing that, or if you do have a Moneyline favorite parlay, make sure that you're actually adding or hedging an underdog Moneyline, just so if you lose, you're not mad and you can still win some money. So a few points to kind of recap for this video. Injury reports, especially right before tip-off, travel schedules, whether it's East Coast, West Coast, whatever the case may be, and then historical matchups. We want to look at that, and then also avoiding just playing all Moneyline favorites, especially on a parlay. But we'll continue, and I'll get another video here from the beach later. Good luck today, and then free plays, Orlando Magic Moneyline. Do like the Pacers on the back-to-back, their favorite again. And then rematch game, Warriors are due for a win, and possibly even Texas versus Texas A&M.